Yeah, you guys are watching A&S Entertainment. I'm Brian O'Donnell.
If you endure and continue and don't give up, you'll find that the worst things that can happen to you turn out to be blessings in disguise.
But watching it, definitely, I got a bit creeped out.
When you get other people sick, you don't always get people sick who may have the same access to medicine that you have, or the same doctors, or the same immune system.
Food is made everywhere and ends up on your table. And so we're globalizing the risk. Writing a book on 9/11 and anthrax, and then getting into the middle of the anthrax investigation and seeing where government failed, where government
Through it, and he's very quick. I have a lot of.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Congratulations.
Ask you, as far as filming this, biggest challenge.
Challenge was just knowing all the people on this set and just trying to work up to their ability, which is impossible, but you gotta do the best that you can. So that was.
Does it make you think twice about, like germs?
Oh yeah, after this, I'm germaphobe, probably wash my hands more than once before I came here. Is just, I'm watching out left and right.
Now, how plausible do you think it is? I mean, did it seem very plausible?
Oh yeah, all the science in the movie is 100% real, and I could definitely see it happening. Hopefully it doesn't though.
What is the biggest, disaster or anything similar that you've been kind of, or illness or whatever, anything in the family, anything you can think of?
No, I mean just colds that pass from person to person. You get it, your mom gets it, your parents get it, your grandparents. It just goes from person to person.
Now, does it make you kind of reconsider maybe getting a flu shot or anything like that?
Oh yeah, you will bet I will get a flu shot every year. Still do, I always do. Just always gotta have my immunizations up to date.
What was the highlight of filming this movie for you?
The highlight was meeting all those fabulous, humble people, Matt, Steven, just everybody. They were great.
Who gave you the best piece of advice on the set?
The best was probably Steven. Just be yourself and do your thing. He was such a great person to work for. Knew what he wanted.
Is there an underlying warning in this movie, you think?
I mean, I don't know if it's underlined, but just, hey, be aware of your surroundings, wash your hands, cough into your sleeve, be conscientious to other people so you don't get them sick. Yeah.
And, I know it's going to be 10 years since September 11th, so I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
What kind of went there.
I don't know. I don't really have anything for that. That was 10 years ago. I was in second grade, so, it's an awful thing.
Did you remember anything from that day? Did you know what was going on?
I had no idea. No clue.
What's coming up next for you?
I have nothing lined up right now, but hopefully this opens some doors for me and something happens. But hey, this experience was amazing. I'm thankful to have it.
First, I wanted to find out, exactly what specifically you worked on in the film.
I was a consultant on the script development.
And with that being said, what parts, is it the believability portion of what the script is, or what is your kind of...
The entire plot, everything. specific lines, how scientists talk. What would the virus do at this point? Designing the virus, designing the modes of transmission, pretty much everything.
Okay, because somebody who's going to be watching this film is going to be thinking, God, that can't happen. That's just Hollywood. But there's something like this.
I think this is the most realistic disease movie that's ever come out of Hollywood, without a doubt.
And what do you think it is that you think that fans are going to buy? Like, as far as, people have seen like all these disease films. Is there one specific thing that you think that would really lend to its credibility?
Well, I think what's really important is that this movie is a globalized view. So you have scenes in various parts of the world. Have you seen it yet? Okay, so you're going to see the whole world in this picture. And understand that in this globalized world now, a major epidemic is not confined. It doesn't know this is the Mexican border. And it doesn't know that you're Nigerian and you're from Cameroon, or you're French and you're Italian. Microbes will now globalize very rapidly because we are moving all over the world, and our plants are moving all over the world, and our animals are moving all over the world. Food is made everywhere and ends up on your table. And so we're globalizing the risk, and we need to globalize the response. And one of the most powerful messages of this movie is that it can't just be that the rich countries have vaccine and let the rest of the world die. It can't just be that the rich countries have cures and let the rest of the world die. And you're going to see how necessary it is that we come up with solutions that serve everybody on planet Earth.
And in your opinion, what was the most moving scene? We'll do this after, after. In your opinion, what is the most moving part?
I think that Scott Burns is a brilliant screenwriter, and he has put some humanity into this picture that will definitely be a tearjerker. But I don't want to give away the story. I'll just say that there's a particular interaction involving Lawrence Fishburne's character and a janitor, and there's a particular interaction involving Matt Damon's character and his teenage daughter. And in both cases, it's quite powerful. I don't think there'll be a dry eye in the house.
Now, what happens is, I don't know if you knew that the actors were attached to the script while you were consulting with it. But, sometimes you get around Hollywood, people got egos. And, I can't die in the first 20 minutes, or I can't get sick in the first hour. Did you have to deal with any of those egos?
I personally had nothing to do with any of that.
Good, so you were just kind of consulting on
We knew early in the game that some very, very big names were interested in this picture. It's such a powerful story. And I don't think that Steven Soderbergh had any trouble getting the greatest stars around to sign on for this picture.
So what's up next for you? What's coming up?
I have a new book out, and it's just out now, and so I'm flogging that, and it is called I Heard the Sirens Scream, How Americans Responded to the 9/11 and Anthrax Attacks. So of course I'm very much involved in the 9/11 situation. I will be down at Ground Zero on Sunday, of course, and I live in Brooklyn. I heard the first one hit, felt the shockwave, felt my building jerk, ran to the roof, called my office, started telling them what was happening, photographed the second plane changing direction and slicing across the South Tower, saw 20,000, 30,000 people running across the Brooklyn Bridge, ran down with camera, notepad, and first aid kit, and went through the crowd towards Ground Zero. I was in the middle of it.
How you doing? Darren from Artisan News.
Hi, very good. Very good to meet you.
First things first, I wanted to ask you, has this kind of brought out your inner germaphobe?
Oh, no, totally. I cannot, I don't handle money in the same way anymore. I think I'd rather just sign off on the credit card because I just can't imagine handling change. ATM machines look terrifying. Hotel rooms, which is obviously a professional occupational hazard because we travel so much on the movies that we are, begin to look a little different, after having done this movie.
How believable was this to you when it was first presented?
It was very believable because I went through SARS in 2003. in Singapore, and so much of it rung true. You know, I mean, when I was reading the script, I was like, "Oh, this is written by somebody who had experienced it himself." And Scott Z. Burns was right there. I mean, obviously, did a fantastic amount of research, and I think got it right. You know.
What was what was it like working with such a huge cast of stars? Did anybody have an ego that, oh, I can't go that quickly in the movie?
No. I mean, everyone is without vanity. I think, and they're such courageous actors, and we're happy to be part of it, and I'm happy to be sharing screen time with them as well.
And does this make you take extra precautions to protect your family or loved ones?
Yeah. You know, I have like 6 nieces and 2 nephews at home, and every time I come back, every time I go visit them from overseas, I would make sure I wipe down my suitcase and take a shower before I even hug them. Yeah.
What's kind of the underlying warning in this movie?
Oh, well, I think that all the ecosystems in this world are so interlinked these days that I think that there's a great need to be more aware of the world that we live in and to take care of it before it bites back.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What's your next project?
The next project that's coming out is a movie with Gus Van Sant called Restless.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
What's that about? What's your
Oh, it's a very different movie. It's a love story, and yeah, it's one of those great tragic love stories.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're up to shaking hands.
Thank you. I'll do this.
About 2 years ago.
Here in the U.S. Thank you.
Take care. Good luck.
Yeah.
So I know you probably have to what is the importance of making this movie, you think?
Well, one of the things I learned in the process of making this movie is this idea of public health. And it's not something that I think people in America really talk about. I mean, we all know that there's like a public health department, but we don't really know what they do. And people in this country go to work when they're sick, and they send their kids to school, and we go to parties. And when you get other people sick, you don't always get people sick who may have the same access to medicine that you have, or the same doctors, or the same immune system. And so the idea that, that we have a responsibility to each other when we're sick to take care of our neighbors.
Right. And was there any kind of, while writing this film, were you extra careful not to fall into any of this truth? Because it is a very powerful movie.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen and I worked with some really great scientists while we were doing the movie. And the thing that we told all of them when we started was, look, don't tell us anything that isn't true. We don't want to exaggerate. We want the scary part of this movie to come from its possibility, not from exaggeration.
Did your inner germaphobe manifest itself when you were working on this?
Initially it did, and then I kind of got over it. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to live in fear. And the other thing you learn is that, yeah, if you wash your hands and you stay away from people when they're sick and you do those things, you actually can dodge a lot of the bullets.
Are you now overly protective of your family members, that kind of thing?
No, I don't want people to walk around in fear. I just want them to walk around informed.
And last question, what's coming up for you? What's next?
Stephen and I are going to do another movie for Warner Brothers called The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And then I'm hoping to direct a movie that I wrote next year called Side Effects here in New York.
And Man from U.N.C.L.E., tell us about your take on it.
You know what? It's in a lot of ways true to the show. It's about the Cold War in the 60s and a Russian and an American spy working together.
Why? What was it that drew you to take this one?
Oh, Stephen asked me to do it, and it's quality stuff. I like to work.
What do you think of the story?
What's that? No, I've been freaked out for a very long time, and I've been able to come to balance with it. I have to be careful. One of my sons, Sam, had said to me, "I'm not as far out as you think, Dad." And I said, "Well, I believe you are, because I'm further out than you think I think you are. I'm all the way out. And sometimes we have to go further than all the way in order to create possibilities for us. you know, and to be aware, but not to be afraid if you know what you're doing.
What's the worst disaster you've personally experienced, and how did you?
The worst disaster that I personally experienced was giving up a great part of my career because I didn't have judgment or perspective or judgment, and but I couldn't allow myself to be governed by fear, and I didn't know that I had. I thought I was in charge. I'd produced a picture before, and the picture was my picture, and I wasn't in charge. And I thought there'd be someone here to guide me, and it was like to be or not to be. And I've been learning it, you know. Tomorrow I'm going to introduce Ian Lipkin, that the character that I play is based on. And I know to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or take arms against a sea of troubles. And so I don't know it by heart, and not the whole thing, but it's really good. And it's a universal perspective, you know. So the worst, I think I've experienced the worst, but not to be cavalier and not to be take anything for granted. I have to know that to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more. And then the second part of it, up until perchance to dream. That's the rub. So I may read that tomorrow, you know. But the worst is, and even then, if you endure and continue and don't give up, you'll find that the worst things that can happen to you turn out to be blessings in disguise in terms of learning about what really matters.
What do you hope people take away from this film?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. You know, I don't think I'll get popcorn tonight. But I mean, you know, I haven't seen it. What will people take away from it? I have to see it for myself. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm not a businessman. That was one of the things. You know, I mean, I'm out there just, you know, because so.
Can you talk about your character a little bit and who it was based on?
Oh yeah, it's based on Ian Lipkin, who is the technical advisor on the picture, and who was on the short list for the Nobel Peace Prize after he developed the cure for West Nile virus.
Can you tell us about how much of the technical jargon you had to learn for your role?
Well, I spent two really amazing mornings with Dr. Ian Lipkin and his team up at Columbia University, and they came up with this really intense, rigorous curriculum to kind of plunged me in the deep end, mashing up little bits of pig brain and coding and sequencing, and doing all sorts of things. And that was very exciting. And at the end, I got this certificate that said I'm now qualified to practice microbiology absolutely nowhere. And so that was very exciting. Dr. Ian Lipkin was with us all the time on the set, illuminating what was going on, and sometimes writing dialogue that I would have about 10 or 20 minutes to learn before we shot. But that's the kind of stuff you live for, so it was a lot of fun.
Did the film make you more paranoid about germs?
No, I was always a little bit, I guess. I was always very much of the opinion the more germs we're exposed to, the stronger our immune system will be. I now wash my hands more frequently, but that's having seen the movie, not having made it. Making it did not affect me, but watching it definitely, I got a bit creeped out.
In your research, did you learn anything that surprised you or maybe scared you a little bit that you didn't know?
Do you know, having spent time with these virologists, with these scientists, and seen the work they do and how incredibly carefully they track every outbreak in the world and how on it they are, I feel a lot safer. I had no idea that there were people out there spending their lives doing this, and I'm so glad they are.
What's the worst disaster you've been through and you had to prepare?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know.
What about parenting?
I think as a country we're probably going through it. I don't know. I don't know what. Yeah. I was in London. I was due to fly back to New York, where I was living. I was due to fly back on September 12th. So spent the rest of the week just, like sitting on the sofa glued to the television in shock. Like,
What was the environment like on the set? What kind of actors direct this season?
oh, he's extraordinary. He absolutely, he knows what he wants, but yet he's incredibly collaborative. He's quiet, but supportive. Just that big, fabulous brain clicking away in there, and he's got this stillness. He's amazing. He's a master storyteller, and it was such a privilege to get to watch him work.
And how about Lawrence and Dimitri too?
Oh, Dimitri's adorable. Dimitri is such an adorable guy. My 8-year-old still, we shared a car to and from the set, and my 8-year-old still, every now and then, just today, he said, my friend Dimitri. And I said, Dimitri, who's your friend Dimitri? And I go, oh, Dimitri and Martin. Oh, that's so fantastic. Like,
We got a wrap.
we bonded with an 8-year-old beautifully. And it was amazing to hear stories from Lawrence Fishburne about Apocalypse Now, and it was just amazing. Now Obama's here.